streams to filter through this land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the highest fishing hole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
Hi there, come on in. It is Thursday night, June 21st, the year 2001. Summer is finally here, but unfortunately it's not summer as usual. The weather just won't seem to settle down. The shooting sports don't depend on the weather. You can shoot just about every day. We'll have some clays shooting tips, some fish catching tips, and a lot more. Stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. You're watching The Practical Sportsman. I just told you that the weather has been rotten, and of course that's spilled over into the fishing too, and it hasn't helped it at all. But I don't want you to get the wrong impression that it's not worthwhile to go fishing. Keep an eye on the sky because it can change everything in a flash. I got the idea for this upcoming feature when I recently read The Perfect Storm. Now the movie was good, but this book was even better. Lots of details and situations that weren't in the movie. Anyway, the storms that we've been having this winter are not terribly comfortable. Now, the storm you're about to see took place in 90-degree weather. This was back in 1988, and it had many of the characteristics of the perfect storm. 49 happy anglers leaving Nichols Landing in South Haven last Saturday afternoon. Well, why shouldn't we all be happy? We'd just seen about 2 months of nothing but sunshine and dry weather. Captain Don Nichols had good perch reports. That morning, one fellow caught 200 perch himself on one of the Captain Nichols party boats. As we headed out through the break walls, our anglers were busy threading their lines through their guides, adjusting sinkers, retying hooks, and getting their gear ready. Our cameraman John Ford was adjusting his lenses, always on the lookout for interesting angles, documenting aspects of the trip he felt were most important. And the sun was shining.
When we left the dock, the warnings were up, and they're supposed to be till 11 o'clock tonight. And on a day like today, might not be anything, and there might be a good one coming through.
We caught all the swells right here for the cameraman, for John.
So we keep an eye on it with the radar.
Whoa, look at that guy flying.
Yeah, there's a lot of those around now.
When he came back the first pass, he was coming out of the water.
It's tough on the back.
Yeah. So now the radar, hey, look at this, John. We got this is the radar screen here. We are right there.
Yeah. I'm looking at 36 nautical miles to the edge of the screen here. That's the shoreline. Now I've got some static here because I've got the gain way high to try and pick up a storm. And then we can go down to 16 miles. Now we get the whole coast real good.
Well, it didn't matter what the weather report said. We knew what we were in for. Sunshine and hot weather, the same stuff we've had since May. The fishing started off a little bit slow, a fish here and there, and the perch weren't running very big either. But it was still early. The afternoon trips stay out to about 6:30 or so, and by then we knew we'd tie into perch. But the captain stayed up on the bridge. Now, what are you looking for? You're looking for a rainstorm or something?
Well, I think before the day is done, you'll be able to come up here to see one. We hear the thunder in the distance, so they're talking a 65 knot one. It was over in Chicago, moving northeast. So that would be...
Oh, so that's why you have that look on your face.
Well, yeah, on a day like today, you're concerned anyway, but we just keep an eye on it.
Well, as the fishing seemed to pick up, so did the storms that were predicted. Not on the horizon, but on the radar screen.
Okay, as you can see now, we've got them cropping up all over. We tracked the biggest one south of us here was running at about 40 knots. We've got one inland. This is the curvature of the lake. We're looking at now 16 miles. Each ring is 4 miles. We're sitting right there in the center. As you can see, the heavy line is still down around St. Joe. Although we got this one inland and we got this one here, it's probably going to get us wet here.
Now, so that you think this one is going to come towards us?
Yeah, we've been tracking it here for the last, should be 20 minutes now, and that's how we figured out the speed of it. But right now she's coming up on 8 miles, and that was 16 miles 10 minutes ago.
Well, if this one is going to hit us, then this one will pass us, right?
These could all merge together. This could be the entire line.
You mean we could be attracting all of the rainstorms in the area right here?
No, but thunderstorms, this is the actual moisture that's in the clouds, but that is the line of thunderstorms that's running, and this is what they've had predicted all day, and it runs from southwest to northeast. So now the leading front seems to be 7 miles away. So it's already gained a mile.
So the big question is, why are we still out here? I mean, is this a concern?
Yes, we know our time limit to get in, and we just keep an eye on it here. And one of the other things is, if you notice, there's quite a few small boats here. And all we've got is the sheriff's department here, and so we'll have to work with them. We're pretty safe on here. It'd just be a lot of wind, so hang on to your hat.
Well, as we watched the lightning and clouds build from the southwest, Captain Don looked a little concerned. Small boats started hightailing it for shore, and soon the strong wind and rain hit us, a storm that, frankly, was a welcome sight. We all cheered for the farmers and for all of us who have been waiting so long for water from the sky. Quite a commotion in the cabin as Captain Nichols headed for the breakwalls. Well, he's going in there.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about this storm here, Captain, we're in.
You're seeing that Lake Michigan at her best. 60-knot winds, fog right with it, visibility down to 0. Can't even hardly pick it up on the radar now because there's so much rain and static in the air. So.
This is the year of the drought.
Yeah, the farmers are probably loving it. Yeah, well, you got to see one. You got to see the front come through, the squall line, the wind, the rain, and this is where guys get in trouble. In the small boats. Apparently 2 of them did go ashore. We won't know for a little while just what happened.
You mean they went right up on the beach?
Yeah, Donnie saw just before the fog bank rolled in, they were headed right for the shore. It's pretty hard to hold it in that kind of wind. And we saw 3 water spouts, and he had one across his bow. Very small ones, but they were
so many spots to stay out there that long.
right ahead of the squall line.
You see it any worse than this?
I've been in 2 or 3 like this. We didn't stay long enough for the sea to build. Of course, with this much wind, you won't get much sea. Not for a while, anyway.
Well, downstairs the people are having a grand time. It's like a big club down there.
That's what my job is. To make them happy. Keep them happy, that's right.
Honestly, everybody was saying that it was exciting. The fishing was kind of slow and we had a ball.
Good. You don't get to see this very often.
Yeah, make the best of it. Well, we did make the best of it, but we were a little disappointed on one hand that our trip had to be called on account of weather. But seeing buckets of rain pelt the parking lot was a mighty welcome sight. Maybe the back of the drought had been broken after all. Captain Don Nichols said the chances of being hit by lightning during a storm like this are much greater on shore or near shore. Well, I'm not sure everybody was convinced by that, but it was a safe trip on this big party boat and one of our most memorable fishing trips in Michigan outdoors. You know, there hasn't really been that much difference between that storm in 1988 and the kind of storms we've been having for the past couple of months here in Michigan. But even with the weather changing, I mean, that can make fishing tough. But oftentimes the fish are still biting, but people don't understand how they, quote, bite. We have a home video that shows us how perch sneak up on the bait and suck it in, so as an angler, you won't even feel it.
Kurt Strevel from Roseville was in his shanty while his wife Arlene operated their video camera on a typical ice fishing day during the winter of 1997. Now, the interesting video Arlene took was through the ice of perch going after minnows. Now, it misses a minnow right there, but I tend to think that the perch sucked in another piece of food we couldn't see and wasn't really interested in eating that minnow after all. But watch this. Both fish take baits on Kurt's hooks, and he pulls up a double. It's interesting to see this in slow motion. An apparent miss on the minnow, but there's a grub on a hook on the right. The grub disappears when the perch sucks it in. Then the minnow disappears. Now, fishermen should know that fish do not bite their food, they suck it in. They open their gills and inhale. Perch often suck in a bait, and you don't feel your line move at all. I don't think Kurt would have set the hook unless he saw the perch take his baits.
He sees the minnow. Here comes another big one. They're going to take Elmer. I can see that he got it. I'm going to set the hook.
Fishing would be easy if we could watch what was happening to our hooks. But most of the time, though, we can't see a thing. Here's a minnow wiggling like it's wounded.
Oh, look at that one. That's a nice one. Take it.
The thing to learn from this video is that fish suck in their food. They don't bite it. We don't feel most bites because, like these perch, they move in slowly to the bait, fanning their fins. Now, bigger ones might come in faster, but without moving your line, they can suck in the hook. And they'll spit it out unless you hook them. So to catch fish, you have to stay alert.
Keep in mind that perch take in their food that way all year round, and so do most fish. That's why ice fishing rods in particular, when the fish are a little more sluggish, have this thing we call a sneaky bobber on the end, made of some light type of wire, so that when the fish moves the bait, even if it lifts it up or moves it from side to side, the angler can see that bobber wiggle. Because if you don't detect a bite and don't set the hook, you might not have any perch for dinner. If any of you have had trouble keeping a dish of food warm on the table while you're preparing something else, I think this casserole top idea is good to put over a plate. Keeps it nice and warm, and underneath there we have Teresa Swan from North Branch. We have our Houghton Lake perch. Now this is made with walleye, isn't it?
Right.
Because you didn't have any perch. But what, is it just fried?
Yeah, it's just fried.
Fried in what?
In butter with, the coating is flour and Old Bay seasoning.
Oh, Old Bay seasoning. A lot of times it's used for shrimp and things like that. I've never thought of using it with a fried fish recipe. But this is, it's quite dark. I mean, is that from the butter?
It's from the butter.
From the butter burning? It looks mighty tasty. You cook potatoes with that. Here, I'll take.
The potatoes are also fried in the Old Bay seasoning and the butter.
With the fish or separate?
Separate. Potatoes are first and then the fish.
Okay. Now we have this one. Scoop some on the plate and try it. So I got, you want some, don't you? And we also have another dish here. Now I know it doesn't look like much right here, but underneath, watch this. Broccoli. And this looks really good and green. Frozen, undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly.
But let's see, we'll leave the broccoli sit there for a moment and try this fish. I've never had bay seasoning. I've never even seen it in a recipe for breading fish. It's very good. What is it about the bay seasoning? It's so good.
I don't know. There's got a lot of stuff in it.
A lot of different flavors.
It's the first time I've ever used it was with this recipe.
Of course, you're going after those potatoes there.
The best.
And the butter, of course, gives a much different flavor than frying it in oil. Have you ever done it in oil with this?
No, I've always used the butter.
Butter? I think it gives good flavor. But what do we do with the broccoli?
Broccoli, it just complements it. It's good.
You must like broccoli.
Oh, I love broccoli. I like broccoli. You don't, right?
No, broccoli's fine. But I can see why that, it does look good with it. Well, very good. Teresa Swan has come up with a simple way of frying up fish. Any kind of panfish, walleye, pike. It's terrific with bay seasoning.
Bay seasoning and flour. That's all.
And you just call it?
Houghton Lake perch.
It's great stuff. Well, that recipe wasn't that complicated. Hunting and fishing is great because you bring things home to eat. In the shooting sports, you shoot at clay pigeons. Nothing to eat here, but lots of challenge, lots of shooting. Now, in shooting, to repeat the same skill over and over, you think, well, once you've got it, you've got it. Not so. Mike Stewart is a shooting instructor up at Orchard Hill Sporting Clays in Bark River, And I videotaped a segment when he was showing Lodi Sansing the problem she was having by starting your gun back too far towards the trap and moving it too much.
A straightaway, normally you shoot right in the back of it. Here, I want you to bring the gun up, blot it out, and pull the trigger.
Okay.
And you'll break every one of them.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, only shoot once.
One bullet?
Only shoot once.
Pow! Did I miss that?
No. Don't hold the gun so close to the trap.
Okay.
Hold it at that, see that tall tree?
Yeah.
Right about there.
Okay.
Bird will come out. Touch it. Just come up, blot it, pull the trigger.
Okay. Pow!
See how much harder you hit the target?
Yep. Way easier.
Yeah. Excessive gun movement is not a good thing.
Pow! Pow! I like it when I do that.
Well, if you do this technique correctly, you'll break it every time. Now, could you load 2, please?
Yeah.
Tim, can we have a report pair?
Same button.
Same button. When she'll say pull. When the machine recocks, throw
You're
the
gonna
second
have to
one.
move.
Oh, I will, but excuse me, Mike, why did you tell her to only shoot once?
In sporting clays, you have full use of the gun. You can shoot twice at singles. Learning to practice, I'm not trying to teach you how to hit it right the second time you shoot. You should be able to learn how to hit it right the first time you shoot. So in lessons, we never shoot twice at targets because we didn't hit it the first time. That's of no consolation.
Okay.
But I usually do. Pow!
Try it again. What are you doing the first time?
The first time it's getting up above my barrel. I stopped it.
That's because you didn't continue up. You have to
Right.
continue up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pow!
Oh, how can you miss after hitting it several times just when you thought you had the knack of it? Well, that's what makes sports and the shooting sports something that you come back to and is challenging. We had the Practical Sportsman 200, a clay shoot up at Orchard Hill Sporting Clays in Bark River last May, and I made the statement that I'd put on the air the names and the scores of all the people who beat me. I didn't realize so many people were going to beat me, but that list is coming up. The same time you're going to see during this shoot Mike Gerke working on a station where he didn't get them all, and Mike Stewart explained it's because when you try to look at the blur of a target coming out and you don't focus, you have trouble hitting the bird.
I'm going to get all these, Fred.
Pull! You'd never guess by the cat calls from the peanut gallery that this was a shooting tournament. Sporting clay shooters tend to be more relaxed than other competitive shooters. Pull! Pull.
Yeah, done.
You're done?
I'm done, Fred.
Hey, you did a lot better though.
Not a hard shot.
Mike, a lot better since Mike slowed those down for you.
Oh, thanks. That makes me feel really good.
You're still shooting the tails off of them, though.
You know what I was doing? I was watching everybody. When I yelled pull, I was already swinging my gun.
Yeah.
Most of the guys were yelling pull, mounting their gun and swinging. I was just hoping he'd push the button when I called for it. That helps.
Come here.
That.
Can I tell you what I was doing wrong?
What? Can't shoot orange blurs. You can only shoot targets. You can't look there. You look there, you miss them. You look here, you get them. They're not hard shots. They're easy shots. But if you look there, you can't. You're trying to kill an orange blur. You look here, you have 2 clear targets to kill. You pull in front of them and kill them. They're very easy shots. Everybody's doing the same thing. They're looking over there. Can't.
Who's cigarettes?
I intended to break them before the tree.
Then you must be really quick, because I could never do that.
Well, that was my intention, and obviously
Yeah,
I wasn't able to do it either.
You should never look where there's an orange blur, because you can't see an orange blur. It's not possible. The hands are quicker than the eyes, and so are those birds. They're 40 miles an hour. What you have to do is set your break point, only minimize your gun movement, and look here where you can see them. When every time you look at the track, you're trying to kill an orange blur. It's not possible. Not for me.
Yeah, I wasn't catching up to it.
Yeah. Well, you
don't realize it, because when you do finally catch and focus on it, you don't realize all the time you spent.
with these,
With
I
the blur.
literally mount in front of those birds. In other words, I'm going to break them here, so I'm going to set up here. I'm going to come out here, see them, break. I'm off, my lead's in. Bang, bang.
Now my next big clay shoot is the UP Championship up at Brewell in the west end of the UP, the middle of July. Too many people are going to beat me to list on this show. I need a 2-hour show for that. I'm going to be down on the Captain Nichols, hopefully on Monday, if not Tuesday. Give them a call for a reservation if you want to know if there's room for you and a buddy. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Or near shore. Well, I'm not sure everybody was convinced by that, but it was a safe trip on this big party boat and one of our most memorable fishing trips in Michigan outdoors.